Now, let's move on to roof penetration flashing. All penetrations through the roof membrane must be properly flashed with the flashing seal directly against the penetration. We'll look at two types of penetration flashing, beginning with the pre-molded pipe boot. Firestone's pre-molded pipe boot is available in three sizes. The small size boot fits penetrations with a 1 to 2.5 inch diameter. The medium size boot fits penetrations with a 3 to 5 inch diameter. And the large size boot fits penetrations with a 5 to 6 inch diameter. Both the small and medium size boot are available with quick seam adhesive on the bottom of the flange. The large size boot must be installed with splice adhesive. All pre-molded pipe boot details include a stainless steel clamping ring installed over the boot. Here's the procedure for installing a pre-molded pipe boot. Before flashing any penetrations, be sure to remove any rust, grease, or old flashing. Then, measure the diameter of the pipe and select the appropriate size pipe boot. Cut the pipe boot to size above the reinforcement ring that is the proper size for the pipe diameter. Pull the pipe boot down over the pipe and position the boot so that it has no wrinkles or distortion. The pipe boot should fit snugly around the pipe so that after you install the clamping ring, the boot is not overstretched and there are no folds. Then, mark the roof membrane 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch from the edge of the flange of the boot. Turn the pipe boot completely inside out, being careful not to slide the pipe boot up the pipe. Apply quick prime to the membrane surface, making sure you extend the quick prime beyond the marks in all directions. Allow the quick prime to flash off, and apply a 1/2 inch bead of lap sealant around the pipe just below the pipe boot. When the quick prime has flashed off, turn the pipe boot right side out and check it for proper positioning. Remove the release paper first by placing one hand on the boot flange next to the release paper tab. With your other hand, remove the tab and start peeling off the release paper. Pull the release paper away from the hand that is holding down on the flange. Pull it low to the deck for about 6 inches. Press the flange into the quick prime and continue to remove about 6 inches of release paper and press down the flange until the entire flange is adhered. Roll the flange with a silicone roller in both directions. Then, position the stainless steel clamping ring over the pipe boot just under the reinforcement ring and tighten it. Apply lap sealant at the top of the pipe boot so that it will shed water from the top of the boot. If the pipe boot flange intersects a factory or field seam, then you must apply a T-joint patch. For this patch, you can use a quick seam joint cover. Pipe boot flanges cannot be trimmed or overlapped. If a pipe is too close to another penetration for the entire flange to be positioned on the deck, then you must install a field wrap or a penetration pocket instead. If you flash two side-by-side pipes with a pipe boot and a field wrap, install the pipe boot first. Then, install the field wrap over the top of the pipe boot. Now, let's look at another way to flash a pipe penetration. This method uses field-fabricated pipe flashings. The field-fabricated pipe flashing detail consists of a two-piece wrap of form flash and splice adhesive. The base wrap extends onto the deck membrane a minimum of 3 inches in all directions, and up the pipe a minimum of 2 inches. The top wrap flares out onto the base a minimum of 2 inches, and if possible, extends up the pipe a minimum of 8 inches. Use field fabricated pipe flashings to flash pipes over 6 inches in diameter, certain rectangular pipes, pipes that are part of a continuous line such as gas pipes and electrical conduits, and pipes that cannot otherwise be flashed with a pre-molded pipe boot. Here's the procedure for installing field fabricated pipe flashings. First, determine the length of the piece of 6-inch wide form flash you'll need for the base wrap. Do this by adding 4 inches to the circumference of the pipe. To determine the length of the top wrap, add 4 inches to the circumference of the pipe. And for the width of the top wrap, add 2 inches to the height of the flashing, which is usually 8 inches. Cut the base and top wraps, and be sure to round all corners. Then, clean the pipe and the deck membrane with either splice wash or quick prime. Brush apply splice adhesive a minimum of 2 inches up the pipe and 4 inches onto the deck membrane. Also apply it to the entire base wrap piece. Allow the splice adhesive to flash off and fold 1 1/2 inches back along the length of the base wrap. Locate the center of the piece and set the fold side to the pipe. Grasp one corner and stretch the form flash around the pipe so that the corner ends up in the angle change. Starting from the corner and working back to the center, slide the form flash into the angle change, and then tuck it into the brake. Note that you may need to warm the form flash with an electric heat gun. Starting again from the corner and working back to the center, remove the release backing and stretch the form flash out onto the deck. When about 6 inches of the form flash has been stretched onto the deck, apply splice adhesive to the overlap area of the form flash. Continue stretching the form flash back to the center. Allow the splice adhesive in the overlap area to flash off, and grasp the other corner and stretch the form flash around the pipe so that the corner ends up in the angle change. Starting from that corner and working back to the center, remove the release backing and stretch the form flash out onto the deck. Then apply the top wrap. First apply splice adhesive to these areas. The entire top wrap piece, 3 inches out from the pipe onto the base wrap, and around the pipe up to 1 inch above the flashing height. Allow the splice adhesive to flash off. Then, fold 2 1/2 inches back along the long edge of the piece. Locate the center of the piece and set the vertical wrap to the pipe. Wrap 1/2 of the piece around the pipe. Wrap the second half around to the overlap area. Again, if necessary, warm the form flash with an electric heat gun. Begin to flare the top wrap onto the base piece first by tucking the top wrap into the angle change, and then by working the loose corners straight out from the pipe and onto the base piece. Stretch the top wrap onto the base piece 6 inches around the pipe. Then apply splice adhesive onto the overlap area about 4 inches from the end. Continue to pull the top wrap completely around the pipe, aligning the top of the wrap. Work from the top down to mate the overlap area, and tuck the remaining flashing into the angle change. Work the loose corners straight out from the pipe, and stretch the remainder of the top wrap down onto the base piece. Roll the entire detail with a 2-inch silicone roller. Then apply seam edge treatment to all exposed edges, including the top of the wrap. Do not install a clamping ring around the top of the wrap because it could damage the flashing. Finally, check the overlap area at the angle change for any bridging or trapped air.